What's up, guys? Doug Polk here. And unfortunately today we have no time for catchy puns to the same music I've done for 3 years. We've got to jump right into the news. We've got the World Series of Poker main event kicking off at the Rio. We've also got people having deep tournament runs at the Rio. We've also got people winning tournaments at the Rio. We've also got bad beats happening at the Rio. And finally, we've got people getting robbed in the Rio parking lot. In fact, with so much happening at one location, let's head over to our chief World Series of Poker correspondent, Jamie Kerstetter. Jamie, what's happening down there?
We're here at the World Series of Poker, and there's the entrance. You see, there's people going and playing tournaments. Back to you, Doug.
Fascinating stuff. Definitely makes sense to have you there in the scene, Jamie. We'll have to check in later for some updates. We do have a lot of stories to cover, but before we jump into those, I want to let you guys know about a new course we got coming up at Upswing. Nick Petrangelo is making another tournament course. This one's more geared at him actually playing high-stakes tournaments online and breaking down the way that he plays. The course contains over 20 hours of Nick coaching you through sessions he actually played. Just a little more of a hands-on course so you can see what Nick does on the felt. The price of the course will be $9.99, but if you're an alumni of winning poker tournaments, you'll receive $200 off, and also if you purchase during launch week, you'll receive $200 off as well. The course launches on July 8th, so if you're interested in checking out more about it, you can check out the link in the description below. Moving on, the World Series of Poker main event is kicking off. This is the poker event. The world knows the main event as what they see on TV. These are the champions battling it out in the felt, and only the luckiest luck box makes through 7,000 people for millions of dollars and a taste of glory. In fact, when it comes to the World Series of Poker main event, a lot of people think if you haven't run deep in the main, you really haven't had much of a poker career at all. At least that's how I used to feel before I had my deep run of min cashing in 2011. Nice. Now I could go through and talk to you about who's got chips coming out of day one, but it doesn't matter. It's so early. That's the greatness of the main event. Whoever's got a lot of chips right now is probably going to be out by a week from the day. You're not really guaranteed anything just because you have early chips, which is why there's just no point in letting you know that at the end of day one, Brian Campanello was the chip leader. It just doesn't matter. I'm not going to waste your time. A funny story did develop, though, between Igor and Liv Baree when they ended up at the same table on day 1A, and ultimately, Igor busted her out of the tournament. After the incident, Liv took to Instagram where she posted this image, including the caption, "No one's busting anyone tonight, that's for damn sure." See what she did there? I get it. Anyway, with day one being the books and someone else chip leading that day, whose name I won't mention because it's irrelevant and you shouldn't care, well, I'm going to be playing day 1C. Why, you might ask? Because I just love 10-handed poker at the Rio. In fact, speaking of the Rio again, let's see what our WSOP chief correspondent Jamie Kerstetter has found out in the meantime.
So we're here at the World Series of Poker. People still playing tournaments. This is what I'm doing with my life. Back to you, Doug.
Okay, that's a little similar to the last update, Jamie, but thank you for the excellent reporting. We'll make sure to monitor this closely as we get a little bit deeper into the tournament. Moving on to our next story, a man was robbed in the parking lot at the Rio. Joey Sal OG tweeted, "Just got robbed at gunpoint at WSOP Pavilion parking lot of the Rio. Guy jumped out of car in camouflage, shoved a gun in my face, and demanded my backpack with thousands in it and the keys to my car. Scariest moment of my life, hashtag some stuff, retweet for awareness." If you're interested in checking this out, he also tweets the entire story. Basically, it happened in the early hours of the morning with not many cars in the parking lot. Now, this is an important story, and people might be a little bit worried. A lot of people are going down to the Rio to play poker right now. And to put those east to rest, there was a security guard on the case who apparently didn't do anything and then told Joey this isn't CSI. All right, well, we're going to have to go a different direction with this then. If security's not going to keep you safe, well, then you need to keep yourself safe. That's why you simply have to valet at the Rio, is what I would have told you before they closed down the valet. All right, so security's a little lackluster. Valet's not in the mix. At this point, you're going to have to park and walk. But luckily this year, most of the events are small fields, so you should be able to get a pretty close spot. In all seriousness, this shouldn't have happened, and there needs to be better security at the Rio. If you're going to have thousands of people parking in a parking lot and walking in. There need to be security there to protect them. You have a right as a human being to not be robbed at gunpoint trying to go in to play a poker tournament. And one thing that I really was annoyed by in some of the comments here were the people who were like, well, that's what you get for carrying thousands of dollars on you. Yeah, okay, cool story, man. Sure, maybe you shouldn't be carrying a lot of money in the parking lot, but it doesn't change the fact that there are people robbing other people at gunpoint in the parking lot. That's the main thing here. Let's try and promote change here. In fact, if you guys know anyone at the Rio, if you know people who work at the Rio, you need to talk to them. You need to talk to the floor managers. You need to talk to the supervisors. You need to talk to the VPs. Anyone you can to try and fix this issue. You have a right to be safe, at least in some capacity, at the Rio, and I think this should be taken more seriously than one security guard who apparently doesn't work on CSI. Next up, I want to give a shout out to Greg Katayama, who finished 3rd place in the Monster Stack and is an Upswing Poker member. Greg's score was for over $460,000. Now, a lot of people were excited about this, but I had a couple choice words for Greg when I talked to him after the event.
Don't listen to these people.
Greg,
you're a winner. You got the gift. Always remember, if you ain't first, you're last.
They gotta learn sometime. Moving on, there was a historic bad beat at the 50K Players Championship where a player ended up all in with the second nuts in triple draw, only to be outdrawn to the actual stone cold nuts. If you guys haven't seen the clip yet, here are the highlights.
As Josh opened the button and is in a world of hurt. In fact, he will be drawing dead, drawing to the 3-5-6.
There is a road to a win for Josh, by the way. The deuce 4 slides in, and we pitch the 6.
Ambitious.
Very.
Oh, and the deuce showing up is such terrible news for Josh. Little does he know it.
The 4-7 still could come in. Oh my God.
Aryeh does make the straight, so he is going to reduce.
Oh my gosh.
It's unbelievable that he's live. It actually happened.
Oh my God.
I swear on my mother's life I didn't know that this was going to happen, man. I was just kidding around. I can't even believe what just fucking happened.
This is pure.
Oh my God.
That's the old one, isn't
My heart is bleeding for young Bryce Yockey.
Can somebody make sure that that's a 6?
No fucking way. You made a wheel? That's pat number 2. Oh my God, dude. That's insane.
Against 3-5-6 also, Ali. I want to start crying right now.
A fucking wheel.
It goes without question, especially given the stakes here. We're at the 50K final table, a lot of money up top. This is one of the worst bad beats of all time. But exactly how unlikely was it? Well, I took to Twitter to find out. Ian Chan tweeted, "I was curious, so wrote and ran an AI simulator on the infamous deuce hand. Basically, this has to include the chance that he wouldn't even draw to a stronger hand because in those instances, Bryce would just immediately win. And according to this guy's math, Bryce was 99.72% to win this hand. So, doing pretty decent. There's no question this is one of the worst beats of all time. But Nick Schulman actually tweeted a beat that was similar, according to David Benjamin. Schulman tweeted, "Benjamin told me once of a beat worse than Bryce's. The TV final table of a big Nolan event in France, this dude who was a known mush had aces open under the gun. Guy 3-bets next seat. Now button tanks forever, folds. Mush piles, the guy calls queens. The button says he folded the other queens. Board deuce deuce, 4-4, queen. Button was lying." Apparently, Benjamin said, "Name a beat worse than to lose to no out." Somebody not telling the truth at the poker table. Shameful. Here's the thing about bad beats, guys. They happen. It's part of the game. Now, occasionally we see one that's truly ridiculous. This falls into that category. But just know, when you're all in, when you're in a huge spot in poker, things can go wrong, and they oftentimes will go wrong. Now, usually you're going to hold the 99.7% favorite, situation. But think about when you get aces in versus kings or queens or whatever. You're only winning that guy a little more than 4 out of 5 times. It's not really that uncommon to lose in those spots, and we're going to see these types of things happen over time because as you run more trials, it's just going to happen. Anyway, moving on once again. The main event's getting a little bit farther into day 1C. Let's see what our chief correspondent Jamie Kerstetter has to say about things down there.
What am I doing with my life? I have a law degree.
Good one, Jamie. Thanks for the in-depth coverage as always. And finally tonight, Lula Taylor made a deep run in the WSOP Mini Main, ultimately finishing second for almost $400,000. Lula won over the hearts and minds of many fans of the final table with her splash of personality and style. Not a lot is known about how Lula honed her skills, but I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that these internet kids have been crushing their competition for years. And that's the beauty of the World Series of Poker. It doesn't matter your age, your gender, your race. No, none of that matters. It's about everyone coming together and trying to take each other's money against their will. The American dream. And you can rob us in the parking lot. You can pack us into these rooms so we can't move. You can make bathroom lines and register lines so long you can't see the corner around the back of the Rio. We'll still come. And we will still win. We'll mainly lose, but some of us will still win. Because history is written by the winners, not the losers. That's right, Jamie Gold is writing the books of poker history. Really makes you think. But before we head out today, let's check back in. Jamie, one last what's going down at the Rio right now, Jamie? Jamie? Hello? Hey, can someone go get that mic? Can someone go get the mic? I'll see you guys. I'm playing the main tomorrow, okay? If you guys want updates, you can follow over on Instagram, Doug Polk Poker. I'll put some up on stories. I'll see you there. Let's go. Let's roll. Last tournament of the year. See you guys there.